This is a time for auditors to completely revolutionize their jobs. There is an incredible shortage of accountants. If you have growing demand, but a shrinking supply, you have to solve this differently with technology. Solving this incredibly painful problem with a very elegant way became so compelling that it spread like wildfire.
I'm Hannah Seal, and I'm catching up with Vidya Peters, the CEO of DataSnipper, here in Amsterdam today. Their platform uses AI to automate the heavy lifting of data verification for hundreds of thousands of audit and finance professionals worldwide. They're trusted by the Big Four, global corporates, and regional SMEs alike. Now they're expanding fast across Asia and Latin America as the entire industry embraces AI. So Vidya, for most companies, when their name becomes a verb, like Googling, it's sort of the ultimate mark of success. And for auditors, snipping is that. It's the thing that they do day in, day out, and it's synonymous with their job. So how did that happen? How did it come about that DataSnipper became so ubiquitous?
It's such a testament to the founders of DataSnipper, Marty, Jonas, and Kai, solving this incredibly painful problem with a very elegant way, which is how do you drag and drop data? And it's always attached to the source. And so the data is snipped, and it's a cross-reference there for as long as the audit is there. It became so compelling that it spread like wildfire just through word of mouth and led to global agreements with Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, and Ernst & Young globally, and over 500,000 auditors using DataSnipper in 177 countries.
And tell us about your journey. How did you get here?
My husband pulled the card of moving to the Netherlands. We'd always talk about raising our children in Amsterdam. And so I jumped on it when DataSnipper came along. And I immediately recognized this problem set from having worked at Intuit for 7 years. I understood the accountants space very deeply. I knew how reluctant accountants are to adopt technology, but I could see that when you build something very simple and engaging for them, you win customers for life. And so I knew immediately that DataSnipper was building something special, because when I use that product, I felt I could be an auditor, and that's very dangerous.
If AI is increasingly threaded throughout audit and finance, who actually owns the outcomes, especially when things go wrong?
As long as regulators are here, it's always going to be the human who's accountable. And I want to share an analogy that was recently shared at our Customer Connect conference. One of our most loyal customers, John Toon from Beavers and Struthers, gave this analogy that I think explains this beautifully. If you think about how driving has evolved over the years. When you were driving a car in the 1920s, you probably had a huge choke that you had to get out. It took a lot of muscle strength to actually get that started. And then you moved on to having a manual transmission in the car. And then you moved to automated gears. And now you have a lot of assisted driving and autonomous driving. But yet what hasn't changed is the driver's responsibility for road safety. And you must think of the technology as tools that the driver can leverage in order to be more efficient. And that's no different in audit. We talked about cloud computing and maybe taking away the job of the accountant 20 years ago. And yet what we saw is that it actually strengthened the relationship between the accountant and the customer, where software aids them in doing that job more effectively, but it doesn't eliminate their job. And ultimately, that's where I think GenAI plays a role, where it helps auditors to do this job more effectively. It's a tool for them. Ultimately, it's their name on that audit that signs off on every public company audit. And it's them that the regulators will call when they need to fact check what was signed off on.
So what does the future look like for auditors and the entire audit industry?
This is a time for auditors to completely revolutionize their jobs, because GenAI has the capability and has already proven within a very short time to take away the grunt work, the most painful parts of their job. And they go from doing that job to actually becoming strategic advisors to their clients, to actually up-leveling, to be stewards of trust. The introduction of technology will actually make this a field of study and a profession that attracts talent again.
Because there is a shortage of auditors today, is that right?
There is an incredible shortage of accountants, and people don't realize that there are fewer people joining this field of study in college, and there are fewer people that are choosing it as a profession even when they graduate with a degree in accounting. So you're having a dwindling supply. What you're having happen on the other side is there are more people burning out from the profession. So even if they join the accounting profession, the attrition rates are enormous because they tend to be very manual work. They tend to have very heavy, busy seasons where they're locked away in offices and don't see their family for a long time. But meanwhile, what you're seeing is an increase in regulations, increase in requirements, and an increase in the complexity of businesses that have to be audited. So it's an equation that can't be solved in simple terms. If you have growing demand, but a shrinking supply, you have to solve this differently with technology. And I think that's where GenAI has enormous potential.
Thank you so much for joining me here today. Great to chat to you as always.
It was a pleasure, Hannah.